It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Lonnie, would you deliver the invocation?
Lord, we thank you for the sunshine. We thank you for everybody that's come out to visit the council meeting tonight. We just asked you to bless the mayor and council and bless all the city employees as we go through the summer months of maintaining the roads and everything. So we ask you in these favors. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Council does have a copy. I believe it was sent out Friday, wasn't it?
Make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Being none, all in favor, by show of hands. Unanimous. The minutes of the March 4, 2000 regular meeting.
Monday, March 4th, 2019. Mayor Weaver called the meeting to order promptly at 6 p.m. He requested John Faust give the invocation. He requested Councilmember Tony Fountain lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Weaver asked that the agenda be reviewed and approved by council with a change to move the brownie troop presentation earlier in the agenda. Councilmember Sonny Proctor made a motion to postpone the mayoral appointments. Councilmember Kurt Raffel seconded that motion. Motion carried unanimously. Councilmember Kurt Raffel made a motion to adopt the agenda with the changes. Councilmember Sneve seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Mayor Weaver called on City Clerk Lovell to read the minutes of the February 4th, 2019 regular meeting. Councilmember Sneve made a motion to adopt the minutes as read. Councilmember Kurt Raffel seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Ms. Will read the minutes of the February 8th, 2019 called meeting. Councilmember Kurt Raffel made a motion to adopt the minutes as read. Councilmember John Faust seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously, with Ann Snavy abstaining as she was absent from the meeting. Item A under new business was moved earlier in the agenda. Mayor Weaver recognized Brownie Troop 19301 to make a presentation on recycling and water conservation. Each member of the troop read aloud a different way to recycle and to conserve water. Mayor Weaver thanked the troop and recognized Councilmember Kurt Rattfield to make a motion. Councilmember Rattfield made a motion that the mayor and council encourage all those in this community to continue to practice water conservation and recycling to the best of their ability. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item A under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Jim Looney to give an update on the stormwater upgrade at Highway 53 and Jones Street. Mr. Looney stated that he had just received the quote to prepare documents in order to bid out the repair today and had not had a chance to review. He asked that the item be tabled until the next regular council meeting. This item will be on next month's agenda under old business. Item B under old business, Mayor Weaver recognized Mr. Looney and Councilmember Ann Snavy to give an update on the alcohol ordinance amendment for early Sunday alcohol sales. Mr. Looney stated that the city would need to have this on the ballot at the next election in November. He stated that they were also looking into changing the food to alcohol ratio requirements. He stated that he and Councilmember Snavy would meet and an update will be presented at the next council meeting, no action taken. Item C under old business, Mayor Weaver called on Councilmember Kurt Rattfield to give an update on software options for electronic filing of the building permits, drawings, and plans. Councilmember Rattfield stated that he was awaiting more information from vendors. This item will appear on next month's agenda under old business, no action taken. Item D under old business was removed earlier from the agenda. Mayor Weaver asked Councilmember Sonny Proctor to explain to council why he wanted the mayoral appointments removed. Councilmember Proctor stated that he had not been able to find the ordinances that established the planning commission and the zoning board of appeals. He stated that he thought it would be best if the city waited until these ordinances were established before moving forward with the appointments. Item E under old business, Mayor Weaver called on City Manager Brandon Douglas to present to council an update on the Grandview Gateway to the Mountains project. Mr. Douglas stated that the city had received some site plans from the developer of this project. He requested that there be a committee formed to review the planned unit development plans. He stated that he would recommend that the mayor and Councilmember John Faust serve as elected officials on the committee. Mayor Weaver appointed Councilmember Faust to serve along with himself and city staff. Mayor Weaver also agreed to allow former Planning and Zoning Director Mike Castagne to serve on the committee. Item A under new business was acted on earlier in the meeting. Item B under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Frank Lease and Ray Smith with the Veterans Memorial Park Association. Mr. Smith thanked council for all their help with the Veterans Memorial Park. Mr. Smith presented council slides of the park and future plans for the park. Mr. Smith stated that they were requesting to change the name of Seagull's Drive to Veterans Memorial Boulevard. He stated that this would be the portion from Mary Street to Maple Lane. He stated that he had signed agreements from both the Pickett County Chamber and from the Senior Center. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember Tony Fountain made a motion to rename the portion of Stegall Drive from Mary Street to Maple Lane to Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Councilmember John Powell seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item C under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized City Manager Brandon Douglas, who requested to work with ETC and council members who were having issues with email. Mayor and council were in agreement, no action necessary. Item D under new business, Mr. Underwood presented an application for selling alcohol, beer, and wine by the drink from Morrisville, August, in the honor of Smokin' Mo's Barbecue LLC located at 61 North Main Street, the old Winsology location. Mr. Underwood stated that the background check had not yet been received, and he would report on that at the next regular meeting. Mayor Weaver stated that this item will be on the agenda for next month's regular meeting as old business, no action taken. Item E under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Jim Looney. Mr. Looney stated that he is requesting council to approve bank signature changes to remove himself and to add Brandon D. Douglas. Councilmember John Powell made a motion to remove Jim Looney and add Brandon D. Douglas to all bank signature cards. Councilmember Ann Sneve seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item F under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Mr. Douglas to present the minutes of the February 26, 2019 public hearing regarding the sewage system expansion to be read into the present meeting. Mr. Douglas turned the minutes to be read over to City Clerk Lisa Hoyle. Ms. Hoyle read the minutes of the February 26, 2019 public hearing. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to enter these minutes as part of the public record and a part of this meeting. Councilmember Ann Snavy made such motion. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item G under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Chief Steve Roper and Mr. Douglas. Chief Roper stated that fire engine 2 was in need of repair. He stated that engine was at Peterbilt repair, and they said it could be a head gasket blown, a cracked head, or a cracked block. He stated that the worst case scenario, cracked block, the estimated repair cost would be $28,631. He stated that Peterbilt thinks that it is a blown head gasket, which would cost $7,438. He is asking council approve up to $30,000 to repair the engine. Discussion followed. Chief Roper stated that as soon as Peterbilt removes the head, we will know the cost. Chief Roper stated that he was going to use the money for side improvements to pay for the repairs as necessary. City Clerk Lisa Hoyle questioned the use of funds allocated to rock work as she did not budget for that work. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield stated that it was in the budget. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield made a motion to allow up to $30,000 in repair work on the engine. Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item H under new business, Chief Roper stated that the county began upgrading its computer-aided dispatch software in the prior year and had stopped before completion. He stated his department had purchased iPads in the prior year in anticipation of this project. He stated that during budget preparation for 2019, he was unable to get prices on the software necessary for the city. Therefore, he did not budget for it. He stated that the county started the project up again in late December. Therefore, he purchased the software for a total of $18,120 in order to build a computer-aided dispatch interface. He stated this would allow for everything that the county has taken in, not only from the call, but also any other known factors would instantly be available in the fire department's iPads. He stated this is designed to cut radio traffic down. Mayor Weaver clarified that Chief Roper is not asking for permission to make this purchase. The purchase was made in January without council's knowledge. Mayor Weaver stated that this calls for a stern reprimand to the former city manager and that council was not told in advance of the expenditure. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion that council recognize the $18,120 as previously spent funds that the city will have to come up with and promise not to make a purchase like this again without council oversight and transparency. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield made such motion. Councilmember John Powell seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item I under new business. Chief Roper presented to council the order of a new Chevrolet Tahoe. He stated that the budget for the Tahoe for 2019 was $37,900. He stated that Day Chevrolet of Jasper's quote came in at $39,243 and that Hardy Chevrolet of Dallas came in at $36,395. He stated that the spring deadline cutoff date for ordering was last week and the next ordering deadline was October 1st, 2019. He stated that there would be a 7-month build time which puts delivery in mid-September. He stated that the previous city manager had given him permission to order the vehicle. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to approve the purchase of the Chevy Tahoe from Hardy Chevrolet at a cost of $36,395 to be financed over a 3-year period. Councilmember John Faust made such motion. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item J under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized Water and Sewer Superintendent David Hall to present to council a request for approval of repair to the 2000 Mack roll-off truck. Mr. Hall read to council the list of necessary repairs. He stated that he had received 2 quotes, Wormy's truck and equipment for $6,456.46 and Cove equipment for $7,400. He is asking council to approve the repairs at the low quote. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield made a motion to accept the low quote of $6,456.46 for repair of the truck. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Discussion followed. Motion carried unanimously. Item K under new business, Mayor Weaver called on Mr. Hall to present quotes to replace the wet well pump at the Water Pollution Control Plant. Mr. Hall stated that he had 2 quotes on the 10 horsepower submersible pump and motor. James Electric quoted at $9,800 and Xylem quoted for $9,583.92. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to approve the purchase from the low quote Xylem at $9,583.92. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item L under new business. Mayor Weaver called Mr. Hall to request council to allow the bidding out of painting the A.W. Lawson Boulevard water tank. He stated that Pioneer Industrial Boulevard tank was budgeted, but that he would like council to consider painting A.W. Lawson because of its proximity to Highway 515. He stated that both tanks were about the same, one not worse than the other, and they both needed painting. He stated that the city engineer thought that the work would come in at or under the $100,000 budgeted. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield made a motion to transfer the funds budgeted to paint the Pioneer Industrial Boulevard tank to the A.W. Lawson Boulevard tank, and to use the city's engineering firm, Turnipseed Engineers, to oversee the bid process at a cost of $7,500. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Discussion followed. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Item M under new business. Mayor Weaver recognized Lonnie Waters. Mr. Waters stated that he is asking permission from council to allow city staff to continue to negotiate with Pickett County in order to pave the streets that are partially owned by both city and county. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to allow the city manager and Mr. Waters to administratively oversee the streets being paved which are jointly owned with the county and provide a report back to council on how these paving projects were negotiated. Councilmember Sneve made such motion. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item N under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized City Manager Brandon Douglas to present to council changes to the city's planning and zoning ordinances. Mayor Weaver stated that he wanted to have a chance for he and council and the public to have a better understanding of the changes to the city's ordinances. Mayor Weaver appointed himself, Mr. Douglas, Attorney Bill Pickett, and Councilmember Sonny Proctor as a committee to meet and discuss the changes. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to table this item. Councilmember Proctor made a motion to table this item in order to give the committee a chance to meet with the expectation to have a reading of the agreed upon ordinance changes at the city's April regular meeting. Kurt Ratfield seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item O under new business, Mayor Weaver called on the city clerk to present for council's review a reduced rate application. Ms. Full stated that the applicant qualified for the reduced water sewer rates. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield made a motion to approve the application. Councilmember Tony Fountain seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item P under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Finance Director Lisa Hoyle to present to council a resolution to authorize the mayor or city manager to execute a long-term lease under the GMA financing program for purchase of the police truck earlier in the year. Councilmember Kurt Ratfield made a motion to approve the resolution. Councilmember Sneve seconded the motion. Motion passed unanimously. Finance Director Lisa Hoyle gave a financial report for the month of February 2019. Lonnie Waters gave a report on roads and streets. Chief Greg Lovell gave a report of police activities for the month of February 2019. Following his report, Mr. Lovell presented Officer Nathan Henderson with a certificate of valor, Medal of Valor for his act of bravery during a January 27, 2019 high-speed chase in which he stopped a vehicle who was driving into oncoming traffic on Highway 515. He stated that Officer Henderson had risked his own life while saving countless others that night. Chief Steve Roper gave a report of fire activities for the month of February 2019. Councilmember John Faust gave a report on JYSA. Being no other business to come before council, Mayor Weaver adjourned the meeting. Council is scheduled to convene next at the call meeting to be held April 1st, 2019.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept minutes as read.
Motion to approve as read.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Being none, all in favor, with show of hands. Unanimous. First item under old business, update on alcohol amendment, Sunday early sale, Brandon, Ann.
Mr. Mayor, council, and for the public, you may recall there had been an initiative passed by the state legislature last year that allowed cities to adopt what's called the brunch bill, if you will, to allow for Sunday sales from 11 to 12:30. I have conferred with Ms. Lisa and our city attorney, Mr. Pickett, and if it pleasure of the board, we will present to you all next month a title for such referendum if y'all so choose to move forward with putting it before the voters at the May meeting, as long as we get it, I guess, the decision made before August or within the time frame.
Anything to add?
No, we looked at the alcohol ordinance, but ours is already in the state for other sales. So that's what we discussed at the other meeting.
Okay, I was distracted just a moment, so I may be redundant in something you said.
Yes, sir.
As I recall from the workshop and what I've heard and read is that the state passed a brunch law.
Yes, sir.
That allows local municipalities and county governments as well, I'm sure, to pass ordinances that will allow the time to go from 12:30 to 11:30.
It will give you the option to go from 12:30 back into 11 a.m.
Oh, just 30 minutes, okay. I thought it got,
All right.
excuse me, 10, I went the wrong way.
Yes, sir.
From 12:30 to 11,
Yes, sir.
which would be an hour and a half.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay, that being said, the state legislature, as they usually do, throw the liability, political liability upon the local governments so that we can enjoy the wrath of the county, county people, whether they're pro or against. They could have very simply said 11:30 and it would have been law, but they let the local governments argue and fight over something such as an hour and a half. With that, we're going to fight over it as soon as you get the ordinance written or approved and you bring it to us maybe next month.
Yes, sir.
Okay. With that being said, I hope that explained. I hope Rick Jasper is not listening. But anyway, that being said, that's the case. And it's not only in alcohol, it's a lot of things that the state government do, let the local governments hash it out. You're not agreeing with that, but he's kind of smiling. You don't look like the camera smile, but it's the truth. Okay. And we'll talk about House Bill 49, a few other things that we've had to live through. But with that, that'll be under old business next month and hopefully have the ordinance ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay? With that, we will entertain a motion to, that's still old business, to maintain this as old business. Let's do that for the record, council.
Make a motion that we maintain this for old business next month.
Okay, can I get a second just for the record? Second. Got a motion, second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. That's an official council option we'll keep on the table. Item 2, item B, consider first reading planning and zoning commission ordinance. Brandon?
Mr. Mayor, council, you may recall last month, as documented through the minutes, there had been a desire, or at least I had kind of jumped the gun, so to speak, and kind of presented a copy ordinance of kind of a composition of the planning and zoning board. Mr. Mayor and council wanted to have an opportunity to kind of vet it through, which I'm glad for. It gave me an opportunity to kind of work with the committee and kind of flesh out some of the verbiage to make sure that whatever is presented in this first reading is consistent with some of the other language in the Code of Ordinances and not just a cookie cutter. Mr. Mayor, I don't know procedurally if you want me to read it.
It's not a long one, so let's go ahead and do it twice. And that way we'll have 2 readings of it so that we'll have a good understanding.
Okay. What we have is we have Article 5 under Boards, Division 3, Planning and Zoning Board, Section 2-382, Creative Purposes. In order to guide and accomplish a coordinated and harmonious development of the city that will, in accordance with existing and future needs, best promote the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, and the general welfare, as well as efficiencies and economy in the process of development, a planning and zoning board is created. Section 2-383, appointment. There is established a city planning and zoning board which shall consist of 5 members. The mayor may appoint the board with the advice and consent of the city council. Section 2-384, membership. The Planning and Zoning Board shall consist of 5 members who shall be residents of the city. The mayor may appoint the board with the advice and consent of the city council. Terms of the member shall be for 4 years, except for the first member shall be appointed for terms concurrent with the present term of office of the council. Members appointed to the board shall serve exclusively on the Planning and Zoning Board and shall not hold any other public office or position in the city. Any vacancy in membership shall be filled for the unexpired term of the mayor and council, who shall also have the authority to remove any member for cause on written charges after a public hearing. All members shall serve with $50 per meeting compensation and may be reimbursed for actual expenses incurred in connection with their official duties. Section 2-385, quorum and voting. A simple majority of the Planning and Zoning Board shall constitute a quorum. Section 2-384, organization and rules. The Planning and Zoning Board shall elect its chair from among its members. The term of the chair shall be for 1 year with eligibility for re-election. The Planning and Zoning Board shall appoint a vice chair and secretary. The Planning and Zoning Board shall make its own rules of procedure and determine its time of meeting. All meetings of the Planning and Zoning Board at which official action is taken shall be open to the public as provided by law, and all records of the Planning and Zoning Board shall be a public record. Section 2-385, powers and duties. The Planning Board shall have those powers, duties, and responsibilities set forth in the city zoning ordinance and any other ordinances of the city that delegate powers, duties, or responsibilities to the board. Section 2-386 through Section 2-407 reserved.
And that's addition to, it's not replacing any?
That's correct. What's going on is the sections that are identified beginning 2-382 is essentially dropping it into that.
Clarifying the structure of the board more clearly and also raising it by 2 members.
Correct, yes, sir.
So we go from 3 to 5.
Correct.
So we'll have 1 chair, and did you say the chair would not have a right to vote unless a tie?
I don't think that's enumerated in this version. I think there had been a discussion about that.
You might want to clarify that before the next meeting, because sometimes that would be it's best the chair gets to sit back and only break the tie sometimes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else, council, like here? Thank you, Brandon. Good job. Okay, that would be considered the first reading. Bill, we don't need to vote on that until we do the final reading, correct?
True.
Okay, next one, we have the mayoral appointments. Brandon?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Council, you may recall there have been some appointments, or excuse me, rather, there have been some committee assignments, appointments to the various Planning and Zoning Board, Luke Copeland, Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals, Karen Proctor, and Housing Authority, John Vargas. Those are pending for consideration there.
Okay, so Luke Copeland with Planning Commission, Proctor would be Zoning Board of Appeals, and Don Boggess would be the House.
Correct, yes, sir.
So you're asking for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve?
So
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion second, discussion?
Is there no need to do those individually?
I wouldn't ask for it individually, but we can.
Either way.
Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. That's unanimous.
We have 2 more to get. Is that
We'll, after we have to do this, begin to stack the board. Again, this the Planning Commission is one of the most regularly called upon groups, and they've been 3 since the ordinance was established in 1978, and their duty is basically simply to provide a listening chamber for disgruntled or mistreated landowners, and so that they can then carry their recommendation to the city council, who will actually vote. But it is a position where the room fills up awfully quick when you have a zoning issue, and but it's basically at that point most of the grievances is heard. But as a standard that we've had for years, if you wanted to bring it on to the council meeting, we'd have the same show the following Monday, the first Monday. So just a little history on the Planning Commission. Zoning Board of Appeals listens to variances, and The city has always been reluctant in variances unless there was a big issue or causing someone issues with the value of their properties. Maybe just a couple of times I can recall the zoning board of appeals, but it's enough, and they are the final decision, the zoning board of appeals. Any decision they make, the only ones that can override the zoning board of appeals is not this council, it's the Superior Court in Pickett County. And of course the Housing Authority, the Jasper Housing Authority, Jasper has always been recognized as the owner of the Housing Authority, and we do get to make those appointments. So thank you, and with that, that's a little history of what we covered tonight. All right, Sonny Underwood, alcohol license request for approval, Smoking Moe's Barbecue LLC.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Morris L. August, DBA Smoking Moe's Barbecue, has completed all of his things he had to do to get a license in the city of Jasper. We've gotten back his fingerprints, and they passed just after the last meeting last time. So I would like to ask the council to approve this license.
Okay. I want to clarify for the record, I was informed that after all the discussion, we didn't get a real motion in the second discussion to extend the time frame, even though we didn't. It was recognized that the month lapse did occur because of the lack of motion. I got to go watch the video myself. I would bet we did it. But anyway, that being said, council, I'd like for the motion to be to approve this under the consideration that we did not officially make the motion to recognize him to move forward. I still want to bet we did. But can I get that in your motion to recognize the time frame has passed, and for the inability for this mayor and council to get a motion, second discussion to extend it is, I think, secondary to the issue. Now, with that being said, I would entertain a motion to do whatever you would like. And can you make all that information? You'll get the copy of that, make it sound a lot better than it is.
So moved.
But anyway, I think that needs to be recognized since we did miss it at the, at least I was told. Did you watch it again on video?
Not today, but I did watch the video.
But I missed it twice. Most times. Do you understand what I just said, son? Okay. Something must have got our attention, and for whatever reason, we didn't have a sergeant at arms bring us back to where we were. But all that being said, except for us not doing what we should have done at the last meeting, he has met his requirements.
Yes.
Make a motion, we approve this, even in light that last meeting, there was no motion, second, or vote.
You could have said that with Mayor Rand, whichever you look to say it. Gotta get a second.
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
Before we vote on this, Bill, are we good with this?
Actually, we've been doing this, we really don't have to.
It's overkill.
It's overkill, and we don't have
I
to
just
really do
wanted-
that.
yeah, I just
But we've
wanted-
been doing that.
Why we do that? Why we do that is to give all the chance to all the dust to settle, to make sure that we don't find anything else that would cause us to suspend his license.
Sometimes to get a criminal background check done and fingerprints and all that kind of stuff, and that's the reason why we started doing that.
And the only reason I asked you to work, because we failed to make a motion in second in our last meeting, and now we're making that motion in second. I just want to make sure we were in our right to do that.
Yeah.
You didn't think I did anything wrong? Okay.
I didn't think you missed that start.
With that, I just want to clarify, because normally we do get that motion in second.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we did not. So thank you, and I guess they proceed forward, and good luck.
We got to vote.
No, we didn't vote.
Yeah, we got to vote.
Or you kiss how I did it last time. With
We got to vote.
all in favor, vote by show of hands. That would be unanimous to move forward. Thank you. Is the owner here, Smoking Joe? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Yours,
it.
good luck. Good luck.
Thank you very much. We wanted to come.
Are you going to have an outside pit so we'll smell barbecue?
Yes,
all over
sir,
town?
we will.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, you didn't hear about that smoke control, order control ordinance that we put in place?
I did not hear it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's funny.
Good luck.
Thank
very
you.
much.
First time under new business, Walt Cagle. Welcome to the city council. Push him, Lonnie. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Mr. Mayor and the City Council, I'm on my annual pilgrimage to ask the city for Cove Creek for 4 days for the Invocation service. If I could approach council, I got some flyers that I will be posting around town. But this gives you a better calendar than me just speaking. On what we do out there, which is a 4-day event. Wednesday we will set the creek up and the DNR run the fish in. And then Thursday we have the special needs kids from the school system. And Friday we have the senior homes. This is somewhere around 25 years we've had this fishing derby.
We're gonna give that guy right there one.
Yeah, you're part of Pickett's progress, right? Yeah, we usually get this published in the paper sometime before the
And if you
event.
will, one more to the press over here.
All right. Anyone else?
I've got extra if you need.
I did want to give you, I've got a couple of hard copies that's on cardstock. The ladies up in at the front window had asked me to leave some for them to post.
Yes, sir.
And one paper copy so they can make copies.
If you'll give that one to the city manager right behind you, the blue jacket. And we'll have everyone.
Yeah, and they can make copies of it. She said they had a lot of requests for them from people just coming in City Hall.
It's a very successful event. Would you tell the council and our public and the paper as well as the No Pickens and Picture News and whomever else would like to get the information?
All right, I'm with Pickett County Sportsman's Club, and we sponsored this thing for, like I say, somewhere around 25 years. Not all of it at Cove Creek, but it's been at Cove Creek.
You remember those years?
I don't. I've asked some of the older members.
Lonnie, do you know?
No, sir, I don't.
It's been about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah, well, I've been part of the club. This is my 11th or 12th year, and it was at Cove Creek when I joined the club.
Okay.
But this is the Sportsman's Club's give back to the community. There's no admission, there's nothing charged. We feed all the guests and the support staff for it. We co-op the thing with the DNR, they provide the fish. And we close off Cove Creek from the dam up to the woodline, which I would guesstimate is about a half-mile stream or somewhere in that neighborhood. And over the 4 days, they'll come in twice and stock it. And last year, they put 4,400 trout in that stream.
I was going to ask that.
And we go in and put wire, we put chicken wire down in sections because they are stock trout, and if we didn't, they'd all bunch together. You know, that's what happens to stock trout. And we set it up on Wednesday, Thursday. We have all of the special needs kids from the school system. In the last couple of years, I picked up some of the private schools that cater to the special needs kids. And then on Friday, we have anywhere from 10 to 12. A couple of years, I've had 13 nursing homes that are in this general area, most of them from Pickett. I do have a couple of homes from Cherokee, North Cherokee that come up. And I think I might have had one in Dawson County last year. And then, of course, on Saturday is Kids Day. We feed hot dogs, chips, and drinks, and all of it's free, no cost for anything. And we'll run about 1,200 people through it with the support staff in the 3 days that the event actually takes part. We have to come to the city to get a proclamation on the creek for the DNR to officially close the creek.
Do we have a proclamation tonight?
We've had one, I think y'all used from year to year. Since I've been
What
asking.
we're going to do is we'll let the council vote to sign that. We'll sign that proclamation if we don't have it with us tonight. We
All right.
read it last year.
Yeah, and it's really just for the DNR to officially be able to close the stream to the public. Because we don't, and it's Saturday about 2:30, 3 o'clock, we will lift all the screens, pack up all of our tents and
Okay, here's your proclamation. We're at Pickett County Sports Club Annual Fishing Rodeo will be held on May the 11th through the...
No, it's 8 through
the 11th.
Yeah.
For older as well as younger citizens of Pickett County and North Georgia and anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council votes in favor of this. Could I have a motion to approve that resolution? If you copy that would be good. Get a motion?
Second.
Got a motion? Who's the motion? Motion second. Discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Now, that's official. That way we can write that up and get the DNR.
Right.
Okay, and you'll hear in a few minutes that we've had some issue with Cove, and hopefully we'll have it safe at that time. But I'm sure there's some playing in the road.
Something of interest. Most of our people, of course, the guests on Saturday, the kids coming in. I couldn't speak for it, but our nursing homes and all of our school traffic will come in this direction. So the blockage on Cove Road shouldn't interfere with that. Of course, on Saturday, I know I have a lot of people from over around Dawson, a lot of people from Bent Tree and Big Canoe, but they've already found their way around Grandview, I'm sure.
You think they do? Okay, with that, we very much as mayor and council appreciate the Sportsman Club, and this event has been very successful, and it's really, I think, a star in the Pickett County and City of Jasper's.
Right, we attract a lot of people, and every year I've been involved with it for 11 years, and every year it gets a little larger. And not just on Saturday for the kids, but the senior homes and even out the school system. We get, on Friday we've had over 100 wheelchairs on the creek that day.
Well, I've had to quit coming down, but last time I went, I think I ran over a car along the merit. So with that, we do appreciate you, and thank you for coming.
Now, we hadn't mentioned that.
I had to throw that in, so Mary would park a car behind me one more time.
Well, I thank you and the Pickett County Sports Club. Thanks.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, you bet.
And if you need that paperwork, we'll substitute the real resolution for
Okay,
my efforts.
James Keener, Sergeant Keener is one that coordinates everything
You
through
need
the DNR.
If you'll check with City Hall, we'll have that for you tomorrow, and you pick it up when you're ready.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Can you post that, man?
Item B, Lonnie Waters, city dog park name.
Mayor and council, you've got a flyer in front of you. A couple months ago, the city constructed a dog park over beside the duck pond. The question was raised as how would we name it, or who would we name it, or dedicate it to, or whatever. And it's took some thought, and we've got a young man here in Pickens County, in the city of Jasper, that has dedicated his life to the pets and the animals in this area. And it came out that, you know, his name came up, thought about it really a great deal. And I'm here tonight to ask the city council to vote to dedicate our dog park to Mr. Kyle Brock. And we would like to have a small marble monument of a thing, you know, just a small one to have a dedication service. and invite the Brock family there, so I'm asking permission for that.
Would entertain a motion to approve a plaque in honor of Kyle Brock for services for animal rescue and all the above. And you'll have a better layout for that at that particular meeting. And of course, you'll probably come to City Council to receive the plaque before we plan it, more than likely. Would be the protocol, correct?
Well,
could be.
If we could.
We'd like to get him here.
Yes.
Okay. With that, council will entertain a motion. Got a motion to prepare the plaque for Kyle Brock Dog Park established 2019. Need a second?
Second.
Motion, boy, that's simultaneous. I'm gonna give it to you because Kurt gets them all. Okay, got a motion and a second. Discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Unanimous. Kurt, I should have given it to you because you did a lot of that was great.
Yeah,
Hey, I'll get in and give you that for you.
okay, you can have it.
Give it to Kurt, please. I'm gonna give Ann the next one, no matter. Okay, item C, Lawnmower purchase, street department, Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. There was a, although the weather this morning may not reveal it, we are in spring, and it is that time of year to begin doing some lawn maintenance, and our street department had budgeted a zero turn. You may recall the staff had kind of reached out to a few locals, and with a reminder of Mr. Mayor, we did reach out to another local vendor who did provide us with a quote today, which actually was of lower value than what we had, not value, it was a lower cost than what we had originally received from another vendor. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if the protocol is for me to identify the individual vendors or just to name the low bidder.
Identify the vendors and their prices for the record, and let the council decide whether they want the highest bid or the lowest bid.
Yes, sir. We had received a quote, and by and large, we essentially try to do apples for apples, although there are different, I guess, brands, if you will, from a Kubota to a John Deere to others. So what I'll do is I'll say that Goss equipment was for $11,886.20. The Nelson Tractor Company was $12,615. The Ag Pro John Deere $13,649.99, and Rolling Tire of $13,000. There was another vendor we reached out to, albeit that was a little outside of our immediate jurisdiction in Blue Ridge, was Mason Tractor Company of $12,526. Nonetheless, as identified earlier, the Goss equipment was $11,886.20.
By how much was it lowest bid?
Between the, staff had eliminated the out of local, so from the Nelson Tractor, I believe it was, I apologize. Yeah, it was roughly 800, I believe, 70.
And the brand name from Goss?
Goss was a Grasshopper.
Okay.
And the Nelson was a Kubota.
Okay. So that's the difference, council, if you're familiar with the makes and models of the equipment, which is, it's hard to do apples to oranges and oranges to oranges and apples to apples with lawn equipment, because sometimes you'll have better features with one than another. So it's up to the council.
I'd like to make the motion to give the bid to Goss equipment for $11,186.
Like a low bid.
A little bit.
I got a motion for the low bid of $11,600, was it?
800.
800.
86.20.
Read the column number that for me, John.
$11,886.
Okay, got a motion.
Second.
Got a motion second. Discussion.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I was just looking right here, we addressed this at our work session. The staff here was leaning toward our local vendor here where it can be worked on here close, is that right?
Correct. And we
Can Goss work on the?
Yes, sir, we did confirm, and
Okay.
they essentially gave nearly a lifetime of sorts to say that even if it was something that needed to be outsourced, they would still ensure that a replacement was made available in the immediate to make sure no disruption operations.
Okay. Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor, by show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you, council. Thank you, Brandon. Good job.
Yes, sir.
Item D, vehicle purchase, police department. Chief Lovell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I need a truck.
You know, with all those vehicles.
We had, basically, we got car 7 that is currently down in the shop. We ordered an engine for that last week. We got a detective car that's over at Ford Place. And they totaled the Explorer from the pursuit last January. We got $15,000 for that, and current bid for the same pickup truck which we got now. That's what it is. 339. That bid stands through Ronnie Thompson Ford through April 14th. So the F-150 pursuit just like the one we have now.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Make a motion to approve
King beat him, John.
a dealership for $33,900.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Being none, all in favor, by show of hands. Thank you, council. Take it in. Item D, item E. Lift station rebuild highway, three lift station builds, highway 108 and hospital. David?
Evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to make a motion to buy 3 lift station pumps that we talked about at the workshop the other night to carry the hospital lift station. It's $7,825.04. It does not need the impeller replaced. Number 2 is 30 horsepower at the hospital, $10,634.90. It does need the impeller replaced. And then at pump station B, which is also a 30 horsepower, which is at the lower 108, it needs the impeller and the bearing. And this will be $13,676.34. For a grand total, with all 3 being rebuilt, $32,136.28, built through VIII, which used to be known as Flight Pumps. That's probably what Tony remembers is more Flight than VIII, but it's now named VIII. When we talked the other night, me and Brandon was thinking the total is going to be more around 45, but it came in at 32,000.
Did you reach out to more than one builder of pumps, or you only got one?
They only rebuild, yeah, they're basically, yeah, they're, you know, how we talked to Ben about that.
I just want you to tell the public.
You know, there's really no other company that can rebuild their pumps cost of the parts.
Okay.
Is gonna.
Once we bought Flight, we were locked in for their rebuilds.
Yes, and, you know, you can't really complain, like we talked about in the workshop the other night. You're looking at 2002.
And are they located in Gainesville, or am I mistaken?
Swanee.
Swanee, okay.
David, the price, y'all estimated that that's $45,000. What did you say they come in at?
$32,136.28.
Give me the price of the first one again.
$7,825.04. But it doesn't need the impeller or bearings is the reason it's cheaper.
Right. I just didn't get all of it. Thank you.
And if we don't, the efficiency is dropping daily, I imagine?
Yes. Yeah, we've actually had to move a pump from one of the 5 that brings the sewage from the racetrack back to town to put in the hospital, because both of those are pretty much done.
Back up to the leachate, actually, right now, coming all the way from racetrack.
Yes.
With that, council would entertain a motion to allow Mr. Hall and city manager to move forward with the purchase and repairs of these pumps, or the rebuild of these pumps.
Yes.
I make the motion to spend $32,136.28 to replace the pumps.
rebuilding.
There we go.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion second, discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hand. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Maybe we'll get 15 more years out of it.
That'd be great.
We didn't mention that, how long those things have last, huh?
Yeah, 2002.
See, this one we do at the workshop, but we got to bring all that back here to get, so that people don't watch both shows. That being said, next item is item F, Cove Road Rock Slide. Brandon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I know there has been interest of late in terms of where we are at as the city in terms of the Cove Road incident that occurred last Tuesday evening, approximately 7 p.m. Within 12 hours, we were able to ascertain with the assistance of the county, a geostabilization engineering firm, to come and look at an assessment of the situation.
Do me a favor,
Yes,
Mr. Seth, there are people trying to hear you,
Oh.
and
Sorry.
so the council can hear you as well as the public.
Yes, sir.
There's several entries to stretch necks back there.
Sorry about that. This is of interest. I'll begin over. As you recall, the Cove Road rock slide that occurred Tuesday around 7 p.m. We were able to ascertain an engineering firm, geostabilization engineering firm from the county. They had a name with some things they had going on. They were dispatched out to do an assessment. Took a couple hours, and then Thursday evening during the work session, they were able to give us a proposal that we could, at the city staff level and the elected, kind of look over. We had zero expectations or understanding of what this would entail, and essentially how to stabilize and ensure the public that, as best we could, make the area safe for motorists. So in the interim, we did elect to close the road, and it has been closed for the duration since Tuesday evening. The proposal did come in at $95,000 for a 6-day period of time to essentially do what's called scaling, loosening off the remaining rocks to ensure it's as stable as possible. That was a 6-day time period. And essentially it's 4 guys, and we're utilizing some city assistance along with the county's, some of the county's equipment to assist as well. Beyond that, Mr. Mayor, we did vet through a third-party firm to lay eyes on the proposal, as we did solicit the one firm. They did essentially state that it was within the realm of what could be expected to stabilize and the cost. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if there's questions from you or the council.
Well, you can direct back to us now. I just wanted the people to hear exactly what the situation was.
Yes, sir.
Council's pretty much aware. Okay, what would you have the council do?
I need to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Brendan, is this contract that I've just got, you brought it to my office this afternoon or this morning or something, but I've looked at it, and where are these people from?
Their headquarters is out of Colorado. They do have some local office. The gentleman who was dispatched was out of Gwinnett.
Did you notice in the contract that, because this is a legal issue and it concerns me.
Okay.
This agreement says that if there's a dispute or any action pursuant to the contract, that it will be governed by the laws of Colorado. And we'd have to go and sue them in Mesa County, Colorado. I don't know whether that's a concern to anybody else. I'd like to go to Colorado if you want me to go. But that is a concern. It will not be governed by the laws of the state of Georgia. I'm wondering, is that a material term of their contract, or are they willing to talk about it?
I believe they're willing to discuss that, yes, sir.
And I'm sorry I didn't get with you before now, but I just have noticed. And that's a concern to me, because we certainly don't want to have a problem and have to go out there.
Correct, yes, sir. And I would recognize for the council to direct us to ensure that the firm knows that we would essentially want to add it within the confines of Georgia, specifically Pickens County or whatever.
Well, just the state of Georgia. The other question I have is, I really can't tell how much this is going to cost.
Yes, sir.
It says that you're going to do the initial couple of things, which is a mobilization fee, and then the scaling and trimming of the rock. And that's can't see it, $95,000. Well, that doesn't include if they find something else, right?
Correct. And what we had determined is that if the council wanted to essentially cap it at 95, we could, or if they wanted to state that not to exceed 100, 105, whatever cap we could, because essentially what we've advised is we wanted to address the immediate concern, which was the stabilization of it, and as you and I discussed, the amounts that we had preliminary thrown out was just under 200,000 because we had no idea what it would come in at last Thursday. So I think anything under 100 preliminarily, there's an expectation that it's stabilized to the scaling, and then we would essentially have a third-party entity help validate that they have done what we've done in terms of the scaling, and then at that moment we can safely reopen the road, which is a concern, and we do want to ensure that we open the road up as quickly as possible and as safe. And albeit, I know there have been some concerns about will it be safe, and the only thing that I can provide is the unofficial opinion that we've hired this expert firm to do the work. Beyond that, Mr. Pickett, I think we will have done our due diligence to achieve the best we could.
That does concern me, and I bet you didn't notice it about going to having to go to Colorado to sue somebody.
I did address it with, yes, sir. I did not strike out the copy in terms of I did not read that.
That's the only question I had.
Questions, council?
Back to the scaling, I've read this stuff in detail, back to the scaling, it needed to be done whether any other form of stabilization was going to be done or not. The other method would have been to put metal screening and anchor the metal screen to the rock formations, and according to these engineers, which was confirmed by the third party, we couldn't do that under the current state. So.
Let me ask Brandon, I went over and looked at it, just missed it, but went back and looked at it the next day, and it looked like the slide itself took care of a lot of the issues in that particular location. There's some issues at the top that, I'm not an engineer, but I do have two eyes, and I saw where it cleared off, and you would think, this is not that bad. But this is an area, and I think most of you, how many people are here for the Cove Road issue? May I see who's interested? Okay. I have looked at this hill for several years, and this place was on the radar, but nowhere near as bad as around the curve and up the hill, that if it comes off, it's dropping right in your lap. This one did have to take a couple of bounces and kicks before it got to you. And this thing was built in the mid to late 60s, this particular, it's been sitting there with a few slides over the years, but we are so fortunate. Before we even annexed this in the city, we can't take all the blame. We just brought it in a couple of years ago because the county commissioner kept wanting to give it to us because we own both sides of the road all the way to the top of the hill. Otherwise, then I didn't really want it or the bridge as mayor, but I'd rather the commissioner be dealing with this right now. But I think what I want to understand is this is pretty much taking care of itself. Unfortunately, no one got injured. It's around the corner. Are they looking at that? Did I understand that to be the case?
Yes, so part of what we had, the 6 days was to allow them to scale the immediate and essentially assess it and scale it, but also the assessment period was to go up towards the pump area. I think the area that I don't know how best to describe it. Oftentimes people, it's right there in your lap. It's visibly.
And the crack's getting bigger.
Yes, sir. And so that is identified as, if this is a, like you said, that the majority perhaps had been taken with that initial fall.
Right, for that location.
Yes, sir. If we could get that done in 2 or 3 days, and then we would then have 3 additional days on this proposal of the 95,000 without having to remobilize that crew or any other crew. So we feel comfortable that through our original assessment last Wednesday with Mr. Steve Poole, that he heard us. Part of what I wanted to commit to the council and to the community was that we want to address the immediate safely and efficiently, but all the while, I think this council, while the road was closed, and while perhaps the spring break schedule would favor it to continue to be closed with maybe some through traffic, address that other area. And I think the other area, I don't know how best to describe it, across from the well pond, you may serve.
Yes.
I honestly don't know how better.
That's the area I've been concerned with for years, even when it's in the county. And each one of you here tonight, I'm going to say this with cameras rolling and papers running and whatever. You can drive the road today. They cleaned it up the next day. But what they're worried about is your safety, because if you've been on that road and that rock fell, and what you're worried about is how fast we can get it done. And so that's the issues that the administration is going to be working with. But there's a lot of issues to be worked out. Funding would be one issue that we need to worry about. There's taxpayer issues, and I'd like to approach the governor's office to see if there's emergency funds, and there's the DOT has emergency funds, and DCA from time to time have emergency funds. We got to have time to do this, and the goal is to keep you from getting hit with a rock, because you can travel the road. They can pull the barriers up today, and you can ride the road. Probably safer than it was before it slid. That area, but the other area, now there's a couple of trees need to be taken out. I think is an issue. But anyway, keep that in mind when you get upset because you got to drive around Grandview to get home. We've all been fortunate for about 40, 50 years, I think. So.
Since the late 70s and early 80s. When they left over there from taking the rock out, in my knowledge as a kid, there's probably been nothing done in that mountain since then.
Except rainfall, ice, and snow, and whatever else.
And to echo the mayor's words, I spoke to a gentleman, Joe Van Sant, down here at the golf course Sunday. His son and his grandson that was coming back from Ventry at the grandson's golf tournament Tuesday. They were coming down the Cove. There was a truck in front of Jacob and his son. They got to the last curve and they both seen just a sea of dust. They stopped in the middle of the road. They got out. They walked around the curve, and there's one boulder in the road. They looked at the boulder, both of them did, and they said, well, we can get around it and go on around. They start back to their truck. Jacob happens to hear a noise. He looks up, and he actually sees the second boulder fall to the road. Literally 15 seconds sooner, we could have had possibly 4 fatalities. And this council has to make a decision as far as safety, to where we know that we've done, and this mayor and this council has done everything that we know to do, to where the school buses that takes the kids back and forth is safe, the public's safe, to where we can lay down and go to sleep at night and say we've done everything we can.
Well, what it boils down to is once we put our hands on it, and we're about to, it's ours. It's Pickett.
Yeah.
So once we start digging around on that mountain, whether it's our contractor or whomever, the city of Jasper right now is probably not as liable as we're liable anyway, because we didn't fix the thing. We just kind of watched it do its thing over the last 40 years. But once we put a shovel in or blast it, you get hurt, you're coming after the city of Jasper. So we're going to take the precautions and the time that we need to get this done properly. Otherwise, I'll be up having dinner and the council will be having dinner somewhere. We found out we've got a heck of a lawsuit because somebody's got killed on the Cove Hill. And Brandon's got to make sure he's going to put his stamp on it. Mr. Pickett's going to put his, and all of a sudden the entire council. So bear with us, because we're not trying to punish you. We want you to go home and feel like you can get there without some boulder coming off or a tree falling on you. And there's power lines there now. If they took the power lines out, it would have been a mess. That being said, I didn't mean to say that abruptly as I can usually say things, but that's what we've been looking at. And it's not to punish the people from Bent Tree or Big Canoe, even though I did tell the commissioner once when he wanted us to take the bridge and the mountain, if that's going to make a heck of a cul-de-sac someday when the expense gets to the point where city of Jasper can't afford it. So hopefully we can get maybe everyone involved with some financing on getting this thing repaired, because it's not going to be a cheap and quick fix. If you want a cheap and quick fix, I still drive around Grandview because that'd be the safest way to get home.
So what I would like, Mayor, is if your permission and council, I would like for the finance director and I have kind of conferred, and we have identified some funding since it is impacting the road through some SPLOST monies, and we've already reached out with your guidance on some emergency LMIG monies. Lonnie has been working on that to ensure that we can at least petition them for a percentage, a high percentage of recouping our expenses. So the quote of 95, to your point, Mr. Mayor, about making sure that during the 6-day period, if there's another day or two and there's an incidental cost associated with addressing that area of concern that has not revealed itself just yet, if we could address that while they're there, while it's closed. I would feel comfortable with authorization up to a ceiling. If you take a 20% contingency, you could feasibly say up to the 120 authorization. And then,
go ahead.
That was it, sir.
Okay. And with that also, we can still apply for the governor's discretionary funds and a few things that are out there that keep and killing the city's budget.
Correct.
So you're asking for a motion tonight, even though we may have to sue in Colorado, and Pickett, you're not afraid of flying. So they have laws there as well, and they probably know how to work on mountains. But with that being said, council would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve up to the amount of $120,000 for the city manager's advice for the contract and work on Cove Road.
That satisfy you, that motion?
Yes, sir.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion second. Discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. All opposed?
I'm going to abstain since we'll be having the power lines.
Put that for the record, Mr. Faust abstained because he might be on the crew working on the power lines. Are you going to pay a customer to fuss at us? It's 4-4, 1 abstain. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for coming down. And I didn't mean to lecture you on that mountain because you've watched it more than I have, but you travel that way probably more than I do. But I do it a lot, and I do know. And how many people didn't think it was dangerous?
Oh, that top part's been the parts that are more concerning to me than what happened there.
Exactly. Okay. So that's why we want to spend this money. It's hard. I think nature took care of what was there. It's what's coming at us is what needs to be repaired. And so I think we're wasting our money, big dollars, down where it slid already. That's where it's going to slide. And beat this to death. We did vote on this, then we got done. Further discussion, but I'll let you go with this one. With the winters that we've had, the rainfall that we've had, I'm shocked that more didn't come off in other areas. I mean, it has taken a beating. We've got more rain than Washington State, so we're going to have other mountain slides. And we put one back in 2001 that took us out for a week when the mountain slid off in the middle of the road going down the S-curve. The other S-curve coming uphill. So we know how it's sliding. But the safety is the #1 issue. You put it back up, you take it down. But this time, once we put our fingerprints on it, we've got to make sure that it costs whatever it costs to get it right. That's my last statement about that. Thank you so much for coming this evening. Good job, Brandon. You got all over that. Next item. Good time for an executive session. I apologize, but we're going to need to talk to. We got our fingerprints on something else. We got to talk about a lawsuit, so we're going to go ahead and shut down the committee. We had a motion to go into closed session. Got a motion? Second. Discussion. Been on your hands. That's unanimous. Second discussion. Been on all in favor, vote by showing of hands. Back in session. Finance report, Lisa.
Council, in your packet, you have the,
Give me just a second, let me get your camera on. We started with that. You good? Start again.
you have the financial report for the month of March 2019. We collected $100,924 in local option sales tax for that month. Prior year, we collected $85,157, so it is up. I wanted to say that we received a donation this week from the Jasper United Methodist Church, $500 to help with the cemetery.
Are you kidding?
I just found that out today.
Pretty nice.
That's, well, it's not a donation, it's, unless it's
Help with,
it's from a church or from the fund, that, you
Let's
will do a
say-
little research,
Okay.
because there used to be a fund that assisted the city. The city don't officially own that cemetery. We've always maintained it because we like our cemeteries to look better than,
There was logos that put the money up.
well, there's a, what do you call it, a trust fund. There's a trust fund of several $1,000s, so do some research on that, because they used to give us like more like $1,200 a year to fund
okay,
it.
I'll see what I can find for
Well,
you.
people were there.
We did receive our capital lease money from the police vehicle that we financed.
Say that again, please.
The capital lease money we received.
I'm sorry, we got finance department going here.
The auditors have finished their field work. I'm now working on the financials to get that back to them for review. In our SPOS fund, we have $1,116,496 this time. All departments are close to or under budget. And I also included a listing of the checks that we wrote for $5,000 in my report. So let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? Item B, Lonnie. Roads and other reports.
Mayor and council, the veteran signs to rename that part of Stegall should be arriving by the second to the early part of the third week in this month. The street resurfacing, I'm about to send Lisa the lengths and widths, and we'll try to get the bid package in the paper by next Monday. So that'll be going out for bid. The traffic lights, the construction crews are working on them. I do not have an update yet. I mean, other than what I gave at the last meeting. They are working on it, running the wiring, and they're cut a hole in front of Community Bank trying to locate the gas main that crosses right there. So they are working on it. The water line going toward Top Rock is moving very well at this time. The roads meeting where we were going to get more information at the county that we do every first Monday was canceled for some reason. We got an email that said it had been postponed. The brush along 515, that was something I was going to confront this morning in that meeting. But we're going to have a utilities update meeting with the DOT next week in their new office in Cartersville. And these items that I'm talking about, there was a crew over mulching the tree limbs and stuff, so evidently they're moving in to start. And that's about it.
When you meet with, who are you going to meet with the DOT?
It'll be June Berkheimer. She will be in charge with of the meeting. It will be all utilities and people from the 6th district will meet there as a group.
If you could, Brandon, if you get any plans from Ben Trail pertaining to the drainage, it might be a good time to try to hit the DOT for some funding, because this road that we talked about that floods, it's not a city road. It may be our city. It may be our city storm drainage. But the other ones, they're the ones with the problem. They need to come in and assess this and pay for, I believe, most, if not all, of the repairs that need to be done. Now that we have time to put this on the agenda, Brandon, could you do that? Go with him and meet these guys and tell them that they need to do some work.
Yes.
And something we talked to them in the past, but now it's getting to be more serious. Thank you. Thank you, Lonnie. Item C, police report.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Jasper Police Department for the month of March responded to 891 calls for service and responded to 40 motor vehicle accidents. And we discovered at about 4:30 this afternoon, Tanya had already sent the report over. There's a typo there because we don't end until March at midnight. And there were citations that the secretary hasn't uploaded in the computer that Tanya gets her stats. So we've actually wrote 179 citations for the following: 1 DUI, 98 speeding, 2 shoplifting, 10 for unlawful use of wireless device, 1 uninsured motorist, 36 miscellaneous, 2 suspended or revoked. And Georgia State Patrol issued a total of 85 for a grand total in City Court 264. Issued a total of 6 state warrants for the following: 2 simple battery family violence, 1 battery family violence, 1 cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Miscellaneous calls answered were 44 alarm calls, 30 disorder calls, 3 harassment, 8 trespassing or loitering, 33 suspicious activities, and 20 domestic disputes, and investigated 0 burglars.
Questions?
Thank you.
Chief. Chief Rowe?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For the month of March, the city fire department responded to 112 calls. Those were 1 structure fire inside the city, 2 outside the city, 3 vehicle fires inside, none outside, no grass or brush fires inside, 2 outside, 7 motor vehicle accidents inside the city, none outside, 41 emergency medical responses in, 35 out, 13 other calls inside, 8 out. Through the end of March, it was 328 calls. Fire inspection looked at 4 sets of plans for construction or renovation and conducted 16 inspections.
Questions?
Steve, the campground outright.
No.
So, what'd you say?
The burn this April 1st, campground after March.
It's, I'm sorry, it's May 1st.
May
May 1st, yeah, you can't, yeah, May 1st is when the ban.
April Fools.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job, thank you.
Being no other business, we'll entertain a motion.